Ohio State's fresh mindset is exactly what keeps the team locked in and hungry for more.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to your Hump Day edition of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, veteran sports talk host, delivering passionate coverage about your Buckeyes. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. During today's show, we will discuss why Tony Petitti is wrong about play-in games, as well as Jeremiah Smith's unquenchable fire. But first, at Big Ten Media Days, Ryan Day got behind the podium and laid out Ohio State's mission very, very clearly by discussing why 2025 isn't about defending a national title. It's about chasing a new one. That fresh mindset Day spoke about is exactly what keeps this team locked in and hungry for more. The Buckeyes aren't interested in resting on last year's success. Instead, they're laser focused on attacking the season with purpose and intensity. It's a mission designed to avoid complacency and keep every player accountable. This is a group determined to write its own legacy, not just follow in the footsteps of champions past. As we head into the new season, that mindset will be the key to Ohio State's success, because greatness isn't given, it's earned every single day. And that's a mission, and that's a vision that Ryan Day has had every single year he's been at Ohio State, that you just can't be handed over something. You must earn it every single day. And if I am Ryan Day, when I got behind that podium there at Big Ten Media Days, he was the last coach to speak during the opening of the event, Ryan Day realized, y'all, that he has to make sure that he lays this thing out clearly. We discussed it yesterday on purpose about why Ryan Day needs to go out there and set the tone for the season and not allow someone else to do it for him. And by Ryan Day discussing the team's mission and what this team is focused on and why they're not leaning on last year's success in the upcoming season, I think he did a pretty good job of it. And I love what Ryan Day was doing when he was there. I literally have a full sheet full of notes from simply Ryan Day's 11 to 12-minute appearance there at the podium, because he gave a lot of good nuggets. He said a lot of good things. But one of the biggest things that stood out to me was the fact that the team is not leaning on the fact that they're defending national champions. I mean, literally, Ryan Day said, quote, "We're not defending national champions," end quote. I'll read the entire quote here in a second, but simply started with that statement, you're sitting here with like your eyes popping out your head thinking, is this man being honest? That literally last season, Ohio State won the national championship. So they are literally, by the definition, defending national champions. But by Ohio State standard, they're not. Because who is on this team that was there last year? There were a lot of players that were on the roster. There are a lot of players that were on the roster that didn't play a lot of football, which is why they're not leaning on last year's success this year. Here's Ryan Day's quote on this topic and why the Buckeyes have a fresh mindset in 2025. Quote, "We're not defending national champions because we're not defending anything. They can't take the trophy away. We're looking to attack and win a trophy with this team that started in the offseason. It continued into July," end quote. Now, this is right after Ryan Day discussed some things about, while thanking the fans, it's saying it takes everybody, thanking the players and the coaches' families, because they are a pivotal part of the national championship as well. Discussed that the Buckeyes had 95 players with a GPA over 3.0. He's thanking and praising a lot of people and honoring a lot of things and really shining a light on the athletes on the team, for them not just being athletes, but being true student athletes before discussing the mission of the team. And I love the way that Ryan Day built up to it, thanking the fans, thanking the families of the players and coaches, saying that Natty was a cherry on top, and then Buddy just dropping a bomb on everybody. Because I didn't think Ryan Day would get behind the podium and say, "Oh, we're not defending national champions." But I was hoping that he would discuss the mission for the year, and that's what you got with Ryan Day. And his mission is the correct one. 100% of the time. You want a coach that goes out there looking at this team and saying, regardless of if the team has the same guys from a year ago or not, because you got to find a way to not lean on the success of last year's team. Caleb Downs could. Jeremiah Smith could. I mean, there are a lot of guys on the team that could lean on last year's success, but that's not an option. Absolutely not. Now, I made a comment recently. I'm not going to shy away from it. The fact that Ohio State's going to have a bigger mark, a bigger X on their back every time they're on the field. You all know the saying, X marks a spot. And maybe it's a big red X. Maybe it goes with the Buckeyes red. I don't know. But the Buckeyes have always had a mark on them every time they're on the field. Even in July, it seems like Ohio State and the Buckeyes have a big old mark on them. And while that's true, it would be very, very easy while having that mark to look back to last year and say, well, they won the national championship. I mean, there's a banner in the Woody Hayes. Oh, wait, we took it down. Well, there's memorabilia that is sold, but oh, wait, they took some more of the things inside the facility down, along with the national championship banner that was up at one time, but it got taken down because the leaders on this team have said, y'all ain't won nothing. So we can't lean on what happened last year when we haven't won anything. That's a fresh mindset. That if I am Julian Sand, Lincoln Kienholz, or Jason Moore, or Cade McDonald, Edric Houston, or Arvo Reese, or Sonny Styles, I'd be looking at that and saying, y'all taking down that banner, let's go get another one. And that's what you have to do this year. You can't lean on last year's success. You must go out there and take it every single day, every single snap, every single down. You must go out there and take it. Take the win. Go ahead and take the win over that guy across from you on that particular play. Go out there and take that ball in an interception. Go out there and snag the ball. That's a 50-50 ball. You snag that thing and then go into the end zone for a touchdown. Go out there and take it because you have to. Because you can't, you're not, it's not going to be handed to you. You must go out there and take everything. The national championship is not going to be handed to you, and you can't lean on last year's success to help you this year. You must go out there and take it every single day, no matter if it's in the weight room or if it's on the practice field or if it's on a game in a fall. You must go out there and take it. Take the win in that rep, take the win in the board drill, take the win over and over and over because you have to. You think Texas is going to just come in and lay down for Ohio State? No. You got to go take that win. You think Illinois is going to be hosting the Buckeyes this year for the battle for the LL Buck and just lay down for the Buckeyes? No. You got to go take that win. You think Michigan, who has beaten Ohio State 4 years in a row, is just going to lay down for Ohio State when they're back in the big house and say, oh, Buckeyes, you can get this win? No. You got to go take it. Take that CFP spot. Take that trip to the national championship. Take that natty trophy. Go out there and take it. You have to, because none of these teams out there are going to lay down for you and just say, oh, you're the Buckeyes. We're going to lay down and just hand you this W. No, you got to go out there and take it. And Ryan Day finding a way to get a fresh mindset with this team is perfect, because it'll be very, very easy, not just for the guys that were there last year or the guys that were a part of the team that played a little bit but weren't starters. It'd be easy for even the coaches to look at last year and say, well, we did some pretty good things, man. They kind of pushed us and had our backs up against the wall. We put ourselves in a bad spot. We were a little curious about if we'd be able to host a playoff game or not. Oh, we got the luxury to do that. Oh, Nela North. Oh, no, it's not. It is Buckeyes moving on. You look back to last year's team and thinking, man, we did so much good stuff. I'm going to sit on back, act like I'm sitting on the porch with my cup of lemonade, watching my youngster cut the grass, just have a good old time here. You can't do that. This ain't that. This is the real deal. And if you just lay down and you just try to get a little complacent and you don't go all out, what you're going to find is you're going to have loss after loss. And you very well could have a 3-loss season for the first time in I don't know how long. Nobody wants to think about that. The Buckeyes' fresh mindset is perfect for this team because this team is not going to be handed anything. They got to go out there and take every win and route to winning another national championship while attacking that thing every single day. Well, one thing Jeremiah Smith is attacking every single day is everything he has been doing all offseason to be a better receiver in 2025. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day, and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you, Game Time makes it possible. Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch, and they've got incredible last minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes worrying out of buying. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply again. Create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thank you all for tapping Locked On Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. Whenever there are Ohio State players or even coaches in a big time environment, they're going to get a lot of attention. Ryan Day was the last coach to speak on the opening day of Big Ten Media Days behind the podium. And you know, it's going to be full of people asking questions about quarterbacks and NIL and a lot of different things that are going on in the sport. But also, players like Jeremiah Smith, Sonny Styles, and Caleb Downs, they're going to have to answer their fair share of questions as well. And Jeremiah Smith, as we know and as we have learned also well, that when you ask him a question, he's going to give you an answer. And it's not going to be a sugar-coated answer. It's going to be the real, honest truth from Jeremiah Smith. And Jeremiah Smith was asked about some of the biggest things he's been working on, along with a lot of other questions that he was asked this weekend. I watched a video interview he did with Adam King, and Adam King did a good thing, just kind of loosen him up, not talk about football per se, but talk about what he does to relax and kind of wind down, unwind when he's not playing football. And Jeremiah Smith said he kind of plays the game. And then Adam King eventually followed it up with, have you seen what people have said about you? Have you seen all the stiff arms? And Jeremiah Smith just laughed. Like, you can tell he's having fun while also preparing for what should be a really super sophomore season for the talented receiver. Well, Jeremiah Smith says some things that he's currently doing this year, and it is described by him having an unquenchable fire. Jeremiah Smith's goals this year and the way that he can be a better receiver is by staying consistent. He can't get complacent, and there's always room for improvement. I say those three things on purpose because those three things stick out in a row. Him staying consistent. Brady, you was already consistent last year. Well, he wasn't. He dropped the first pass that he was thrown last year. He had some other moments where he will tell you it was a misstep or it was a misread or it was a misblock or maybe he dropped another ball that he should have caught. There are things that he did where he says, no, I am my biggest critic. No matter what Ryan Day or Heartline say, Jeremiah Smith is his toughest critic, and he knows the things that he needs to do. Staying consistent. Not getting complacent. It'll be very easy. Similar to the Ohio State's team, it'd be very, very easy for Jeremiah Smith to look to what happened last year and for him to just lean on that success and say, hey, man, I broke Chris Carter's record. That's been there since 84. I had 76 receptions, over 1,300 receiving yards, 15 receiving touchdowns. Did a lot of good things as a freshman receiver. Man, I can just lean on that and be good this year. No, you can't. You absolutely can't. One, that's the past, and the past does not help you in the present. And two, you must do things better. You must improve because these coaches have a full year's worth of film and then some to try to stop you this year. Texas is trying to do what they did to you last year, hold you to one catch. You want to know what? Illinois and Brett Bielema, they're going to have a plan for you. You know, Sharon Moore in Michigan, they're going to have a plan for you. James Franklin, okay, nice try, but they're going to try to have a plan for you. Everybody's going to have a plan that's probably different than last year. And you can't lean on last year's success to help you this year. You got to do things in the present to help you in the future. And I think Jeremiah Smith moving forward is prepared for whatever happens because he knows already he's working harder. The fact that Ryan Day talked about Jeremiah Smith, and I'm trying to find it in my notes, that Jeremiah Smith is not only bigger, stronger, and faster than he was last year, but he's the first guy in every workout. Every one. Every sprint, every workout. He is the first guy. That's not a knock against Caleb Downs or Sonny Styles or Hensman or Sarahveld or anybody else on the team. It's not a knock against anybody. It's literally just the reality that Jeremiah Smith is different. 100% different. And he's different because while he has all these things great about him, he's a superb route runner. He's a great blocker as a receiver. He understands route running. He can switch his feet at the before the snap at a stance and still run a phenomenal route. As we know against Texas, what did Texas do? They pointed. Was it Texas or Notre Dame? Maybe Notre Dame. They pointed because they saw his feet were different. Where Jeremiah Smith went back and then all of a sudden went back to where he was. The defensive back was in the middle of the field. Jeremiah Smith was in the flat, running into the end zone for a touchdown. You have to get better every single day. I think that one of the best attributes Jeremiah Smith has right now, and it's just something that we learned at Big Ten Media Days, but it was something that was reiterated, was that he motivates himself. It's hard to motivate yourself, man. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it, just be real with you. Buddy, it is hard to motivate yourself in the way that this young man is. If you think about what he is as a receiver from last year, and motivating himself to get better, that's difficult. And then when you add in, he's been hyped up since he first got into high school about him being one of them ones. He got to be a sophomore, and then all of a sudden a junior, and the hype train was at an all-time high. Well, it was at that point. And then senior year, and then freshman year at Ohio State, the train is now at an all-time high, moving faster than it's ever moved. And it'd be easy to say, yeah, that helped me to get here, but I'm not trying to go any further. As well as knowing it's real to have a sophomore slump. It's not fun to talk about, but at Ohio State, you can look back to simply a guy that left the Buckeye program after last season that having a sophomore slump, you could try to prevent it, but man, that thing might happen anyway. Think back to 2021. Denzel Burke gets to start against Minnesota. It was a road game. It was a home open on a Thursday evening, and I'm glad because at the time I had Fridays off, so I ended up staying up, getting that pod done at the end of the game, and Denzel Burke at the start because Sevyn Banks was injured, and I remember this moment. I look out there thinking, who is that guy? I knew of him. I heard him at press conferences. I've heard him speak. I knew when he committed to Ohio State. All of a sudden, I'm thinking, who is that guy? Because that wasn't who I was expecting to see out there on the field. It's Denzel Burke. He's a 4-year starter. One of the rare things to happen at Ohio State is a guy being a 4-year starter. A 4-year starter who in his freshman year went off. Was believed to be a future first-round pick if he kept up at that same level, kept getting better. That was after freshman season, knowing he would have to play at least 2 more years to be draft eligible. What happened his sophomore season? Homie had a sophomore slump. Now, part of that was due to some injuries that he suffered in 2022. However, a lot of that was teams have a full year's worth of film on you, and they know your strengths. They know your weaknesses. They know those potentially better than you do. And as they may know them better than you, they have answers, they have counters, they have ways to overcome the things you do well. 2022 was not Denzel Burke's best year. Bounced back a little bit in 2023. I know there was some speculation about him potentially going to the draft after that season. I thought it would have been foolish, not because I don't think he would have been drafted. I simply think that if he would have made that move, it would have been one that would have hurt. Well, let me say this really quickly. If he left after the 2023 season, my thought at the time was that he would have lost money because he would have fallen in the draft. And then the 2024 season happened, and he fell in the draft. Was it because of injuries? I just think Denzel Burke just didn't progress like we thought he was going to. Had a great freshman season, but he didn't find a way to consistently get better, to overcome some of the issues he had on the field. Jeremiah Smith, however, is working every single day to overcome the issues he's had on the field. These are issues, these are things that aren't good, they're not fun, but they are things that every player has. Every player has obstacles. Every player has things that make them great. Every player has things that make them not be their best. How do you overcome those things? And Jeremiah Smith is working on that right now. He's bigger, faster, stronger. I'll say it once again. He has the second lowest body fat on the team, running 22 miles per hour. Also, that was in the game as well. Also, he's up to 225 pounds. And if you saw pictures or videos of Jeremiah Smith at Big Ten Media Days, you will realize that boy been in the weight room. That boy been eating his Wheaties, and that boy's going to be a monster in the fall. One thing that won't be a monster is Tony Petitti's mission to potentially add play-in games to the CFP process. And let me tell you, this man got this one wrong. Thank you all for tapping Locked on Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. I don't want to come on here and be negative after the first day of Big Ten Media Days. This is a day to celebrate what's going on in the Big Ten, that Ohio State was front and center, that they were represented by three of the leaders on the team. I don't want to come on here and be negative, y'all, but when I hear Tony Petitti stand his ground on his stance at the playoff, it makes me, as you see, I kind of want to pull my hoodie, because not really literally pull the hoodie or rip it a little bit, but kind of just gets me to get frustrated. Because I don't understand. Now, I do. I'll get there in a second. But I don't understand how this man believes this is what's best for the sport. Oh, wait. He's a commissioner who's trying to look out for the schools inside the Big Ten football conference. There are 18 of them. That is still a weird thing to say. I hope at some point the size of conferences goes down. But I don't know if that's going to happen. Tony Petitti still believes that the best format is for the Big Ten to have 4 automatic qualifiers in the playoff format. There would be 3 at-large berths that would impact, maybe allow the Buckeyes, or the Big Ten, to have a fifth or sixth team in the playoff field. Oh, 16 isn't right. I wish somebody would speak to this man and get it through his head that 16 is not the right number. Absolutely not. Never has been, never will be. 16 ain't the right number for this sport to find a true national champion. Give me 6, give me 8. Let's stop there, because even when it was 4, you knew that 4 seed more too often than not didn't have an opportunity to win a national championship. Absolutely, no, they truly don't, because they're not one of the top teams in this. I mean, top teams in the sport, yes, by definition, but buddy, to say they have a legit shot to win the national championship is sometimes laughable, because there's levels to this, 100% levels. And Tony Petitti, man, he made a comment about, oh, well, the fans will love the play-in format. They might. People like more football, but is it what's best for the sport? No. Here's Tony Petitti's statement on a possible descent to the Big Ten's proposed model in regards to the play-in format that might be combined with championship weekend. Quote, "We feel very strongly that fans will really gravitate towards a play-in weekend. I just believe that the weekend we're talking about, having conference championship games and playoff games across all conferences, will benefit college football," end quote. This is kind of weird, because I think you're going to run into what we ran into last year during the first round of the playoff. But you're going to get a lot of blowouts. Now, here's the weird thing is, though, you're not having 12 versus 8 or things of that nature. What you're going to have is 1 and 2 playing at the conference championship game, and then you're going to have 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5, competing for the other 2 automatic qualified spots for the Big Ten to get into the playoff. Do I want to see 3 versus 6? No, I don't. Not at all. Do I want to see 4 versus 5? It will be more competitive, but probably not, because 9 times out of 10, if you're 3, you're a really good team. If you're 4 through 6 in the Big Ten, you're probably not going to have a legit shot to win a national championship. So why in the world should we allow to have a play-in format to still get in? It's the same way my brain uses the NBA play-in round, because it's stupid. Now, in the NBA, let's use this example again, because we do it all the time because it's easy to display. There are 8 teams in the East and West, they're in conferences, that get into the NBA playoffs. 1 through 8 every year. Now, what the NBA decided to do was, well, how about we have a play-in round? I think 9 plays 10, and then 8 plays the winner of that game. And maybe 7 it gets in there too. I don't understand the play-in round because it's so odd. But you legit have teams that are 9th and 10th in their respective conferences. When there are 15 teams in a conference to have a shot to get into the NBA playoffs, when you already played 82 games and you weren't one of the top 8 seeds in your conference, but all of a sudden, to try to spice things up and, let's be honest with you, make more money, we're going to allow you to have a shot to make the NBA playoffs. It's stupid. It's absolutely absurd. No. So let's just say the 4 automatic qualifiers automatically happen. They get in. Let the 1 through 4 seeds get those spots. Don't have a play-in round for 3 to play 6 and 4 to play 5, and the winners of those games gets into the playoff. No. If you're going to stand your ground on the Big Ten playing 9 conference games and influence the committee to really take into account the conferences that play 9 games versus those that play 8, I know it's a good, really negotiating tactic because that would lessen the chance to get more ACC and SEC teams in due to them playing 8 conference games, but it'll also boost the Big 12, who is not on the same level as the Big 10. Not at all. Big 12 has some good teams, but do you believe in Colorado? Do you believe in Kansas State? Kansas? No, you don't. TCU? SMU? No, you don't. Arizona State? Maybe you do. Maybe. But in reality, probably not. Absolutely not. I hope that whenever they decide the format for 2026, play-in games are not a part of it. They don't need to be a part of this sport. You had 9 conference games, 12 regular season games to figure out where you are as far as being one of the top teams in the sport and to get your seeding in the standings for the Big Ten Conference. You shouldn't have to play a play-in game if you are the 3rd or 4th seeds in the Big Ten to get into the playoff. No. You earn that spot on the field. Yes, you could go out there and win another game to earn it on the field as well. But no, you're adding to something that doesn't need to be added to. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, you know what's broken? It's not so much broken. It can be tweaked. The playoff format. But they're doing that right now in 2025, allowing straight seeding. Your 5 highest ranked conference champions are going to get into the playoff, and then the rest are going to be at-large berths. Once those teams get in, you're seeding them 1 to 12. Let that thing ride, which means you could be a conference champion and not get an automatic bye. I am here for that. I was here for it last year. Didn't happen. I'm glad it's happening this year. I hope it happens in 2026 and 2027 and 2028 and beyond, because that's what needs to happen over and over and over again. But here's my fear for this sport. You're going to have a format that's going to be hard to explain. You're going to have to listen to 5,000 different shows. You don't have to. You're going to choose to listen to 5,000 different shows to try to truly understand the new playoff format. And what you're going to find is when it comes down to Selection Sunday, you're going to have ESPN with Reese Davis, Kirk Herbstreit, and the other guys there at the table are going to explain it once again, because it don't make no sense. Because stuff going on in this sport with the playoff don't make no sense. And Tony Batiti's belief that fans will enjoy the play-in round, will they? Y'all, it's Thanksgiving weekend. Would I want to watch 3 versus 6 and 4 versus 5 in the Big Ten, or the SEC championship game, or the Big 12 championship game, or maybe on a Friday evening the ACC championship? Well, ACC is actually on. It's on Saturday night along with the Big Ten. Would I prefer to watch a power conference championship game, or 3 versus 6 or 4 versus 5 in the Big Ten? You answer the question yourself. Because Tony Batiti says, oh, the fans are going to love this. A lot of y'all might stay home to watch other games because you prefer to do that, save your money for potentially going to a playoff game to watch a 3 versus 6 and 4 versus 5 in the No. They earn those spots on the field. The standings are made off the results on the field. You don't need more results on a weekend to decide a playoff format when that should already be decided based off the standings at the end of the regular season. It is not rocket science. But to some of these people that run this sport, this is rocket science. Y'all can tell I'm getting annoyed because this stuff is stupid. But we have people that make a lot of money that are making some abnormal decisions about this sport because they think, oh, this is what people want. Are you sure about that? Because I guarantee if you polled college football fans, a lot of them will say what's going on right now with the playoff is stupid. Thank y'all for tapping in Locked on Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. For your take a listen, check out the portal because my guy Brian Smith has latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. Be the most informed fan on the rapid changes to the college football landscape. Find the portal and Locked on Buckeyes on the YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow me on any social media platform at jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317 at gmail.com. This has been Locked on Buckeyes on a hump day. We'll see you next time.